Hello, welcome to episode 3 of the Woo, the Science and You. Today you're in for a right treat, so you need to make sure you listen right up until the end, otherwise we're giving out the knuckle butties. But what are we talking about today, Soph?
We are going to be talking about meditation because if you were listening to the last episode, that's what we promised we would do, because I'm someone who thinks I should meditate and don't meditate. So I wanted to look into a bit more into the science of it and try it and see how we get on.
And actually, this is going to tie quite nicely into belief coding, because when we do belief coding sessions, we go into that meditative state and we often work with something called the theta or theta. I'll be honest, I don't know which way you pronounce that. Brain waves.
Oh, well, I don't know anything about that.
Oh, never mind then.
Oh, we're going to get,
Maybe that's for episode 4 or 5.
Oh, yeah. But before we start, I noticed you were looking rather brown. Is this from English Sunshine?
Unfortunately not. No, do you know what? I try my best not to really wear fake tan unless I'm looking totally pasty like a piece of paper. But I put a bit of something, it's called Tan Lux, and it's like this really nice oil, but it's made my nose super brown and the bottom of my lip like have this dodgy brown lip liner still. So I've had to do this. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll totally resonate with my lipstick, or put my lipstick right underneath my lips so it looks like my lips and not just the dirty. Oh. But I'm guessing that yours is real because you've been on your jolliest degrees.
Well, yeah, I have just come back from Rhodes, but I no longer am someone who likes to tan. I'm like Madonna now with a big hat and I'm in the shade.
Oh my gosh.
Because I do worry about aging, because actually I've done, in fact, shameless plug, on my Dr. Sophie lifestyle channel, I have done a video all about, sun creams and what you need to know about it. Because actually it is quite surprising that when you tan, that the natural kind of brown colour you go is the melanin increasing to try and protect you from the UV damage from the sun.
So do you know what I read? And again, great with stories, not so great with facts. This is where you go in. Yeah. But apparently it is our eyesight that helps our skin to adapt. So when we're wearing sunglasses, it's not, our brain isn't receiving the same messages to help our melatonin.
Melanin.
Mini-me.
You know, is that stuff, yeah.
The stuff in your skin that turns you brown. Apparently, and again, like this is just what I've read. I can't say it's factually true.
I mean, certainly the receptors in the back of the eye absolutely talk to your brain about whether it's daylight and nighttime. So that does happen, but it's the cell damage that's happening within any bit of the skin that's getting sun. So I do worry about that because it also reduces your collagen, and I want more collagen. I'm 44 now. I need lots of collagen and elastin and also sun, like dark skin patches and things like that. I don't want it. So I go super freckly. Yeah. And then I've topped freckles up with fake tan.
Oh, you see, you always look so
fake
beautiful,
the bronze.
Oh, well, the bronze is very faked and it looks, well, not very, that sounds awful.
How rude.
I mean, the bronze looks very good. You're supposed to say that you've bronzed faked well. I don't even know what that sentence would look like. Do you know what? I'm the opposite. So I always think that when I don't have a tan, I definitely feel like I look like a middle-aged woman. And even though I am a middle-aged woman with 5 kids, I don't want to look like one. Whereas when I'm like tan, I'm like, oh, Jesus, I look like I'm in my 20s. I love this. Even though, again, I don't. But I always feel as well, my lines on my head here, whenever I've got a tan or whenever I'm in the sun, they seem to not be as thick. So and I'm looking like this, when you look at yourself in the mirror and you really inspect yourself, they don't seem as deep. Whereas when I'm totally pissed white, I'm like, oh, Jesus, like the grey bags under my eyes are there. Yeah, no.
Well, we're going to talk about skincare at the end, aren't we? Because last time we also promised that we would chat a bit more about the Foreo Bear and the LED light business. So shall we start talking about meditation?
Yes, let's go. I'm going to let you lead on this.
Okay. Well, do you meditate though?
So yes and no. So I do meditation now and again. There's one that I like to do called Satanama. And actually we're going to be giving the listeners some tips on how they can get into meditation at the end. But I would say my form of meditation is doing a belief coding session. But also with meditation, I think a lot of people think that it is literally lying still and going within, whereas actually like to be in a meditative state, it's just to be super, super present. So I used to do one meditation where literally you'd walk really slow with one foot slowly in front of the other, just be really present with yourself. So in regards to meditation, I don't really lie down to meditate unless it's guided. But I generally tend to do like a belief coding session where I'm going within anyway. Or if I'm practicing being really present, it's something which is more actively being present rather than still presence.
Yeah, well, I think you're absolutely right. I think meditation isn't just sitting there and doing that, especially kind of there's all sorts of different types of meditation. I have been learning all about it. But I have always wanted to be someone who meditates. I feel like that should be who I am. I feel like I should be a meditator. And I've tried, I have done a video on meditation on my Dr. Sophie GP channel. And then I was like, oh God, what it's supposed to do for you, like the benefits are so incredible that I thought, right, I want to be a meditator. And I found it really hard. And so last time on our episode, I said, right, that's it. I'm going to have to do it because I promised on the podcast that I'd do it. So I've downloaded the Calm app, which, oh, by the way, it's a massive business. So currently it's worth kind of mindfulness meditation. Globally is worth about $1 billion, and it's thought to be about $2 billion in the next few years. So we should be thinking about how we can make some money on this.
So on episode 4, we're going to be leading you with the guided meditation.
Which you'll have to pay a lot of money for.
Listen to us. I'll tell you what, just going into, I'm going more into hypnosis now, actually. Ignore me. Carry on.
We can come back to that another time. So anyway, so I downloaded the Calm app and I tried to do it every day, and I set a little reminder on my phone, and I was reading that it's ideally best to do it in the morning because it kind of sets you up for the day. And in fact, I roped Paul into it as well. So when we woke up, I was like, let's not roll over and read the news, which is what I normally do. So we sometimes did it in the morning. We didn't always, but we tried to do it. And it was quite sweet. I thought we were like, sorry, I'm looking over there if anyone who's watching, because Paul stood behind the camera pressing buttons. And so actually that was quite nice.
And Paul is also Sophie's husband.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he doesn't just press any woman's buttons.
So we kind of held hands and listened to the Calm app and kind of closed our eyes and tried to do it. But some days I just forgot or I didn't have time, and that actually like increased my stress levels. And I think the thing to know is you may get some benefit from sitting there and just being quiet for a moment. That, I did feel nice and calm afterwards. But it is like learning the piano or trying to learn Greek or something. It is a skill that you have to learn and develop, and it isn't easy.
I think as well. So I got quite into meditation about 2-3 years ago, I would get up, I'd do Satanama, and then I'd be able to go into a silent meditation rather than a guided one. And one thing that I realised, which I think most people don't realise when they start, is the mind chatter and the distraction is totally normal, because literally, and it's the same with breath work, which we touched upon, your brain will literally talk to you to tell you to stop doing it or to distract you, because again, you're going into a different version of yourself, which you've never been before. So essentially, you're becoming a new identity. Does that make sense? So your subconscious will always block you becoming a new identity.
Yeah. So they call it it's known as like the monkey brain.
Yeah.
How our brain just can't shut down. It's just jumping from thought to thought.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's where I feel like a bit of a failure, because when you're doing mindfulness meditation, it's like, just acknowledge your thoughts and let them, welcome them in and welcome them out.
Where are the kids? Are they downstairs? Are they to bed?
And sometimes I'm thinking, oh God, how long have I got left? Because I've got all these things to do. And I'm like, I'm failing at I'm rubbish at this. But yeah, I was reading this is called the DMN, the Default Mode Network, which is essentially that mind wandering. And what's really interesting about meditation is if you do it consistently for a long period of time, we now know from studies which include things like functional MRI studies, which can actually see how the brain is changing, that it does change your brain. And one of the things is, it reduces this DMN, this default mode network, which is your mind wandering. And that has been linked to increased happiness and decreased depression.
Oh my God, do you know what you've just reminded me of? And again, I can bring this in for you, but I know this episode's meditation. But when I first started doing belief coding, because that changes like your brain waves. I bought this thing, it's like a headband, and it's for meditation, but you put it on and it measures the stress levels and the brain waves and what's it measure now? It basically measures what your brain goes through, but it sounds pretty similar.
Yeah, because one of the other things they can check is things like EEG, which is like essentially checking
EEG. I think
checking your brainwaves, because it does change your brainwaves as well, which is one of the reasons why. So it optimizes your brainwave activity, which is one of the reasons it's helpful for sleep, and also improves kind of your cognition and your focus. I've just got some notes I'm going to tell you. So essentially, it's something called neuroplasticity.
Yes.
Which it develops about how you can develop new neural networks within the brain. It increases the grey matter within the frontal cortex of your brain, which is where we have our kind of memory and our focus. And this was really interesting, I thought. It alters areas of brain related to self-control and addiction.
This is like belief coding. Yeah. Like this is literally, so everything you're mentioning there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll keep digressing. Go on. And that's shamelessly
plugging. You digress. You plug, girl.
But it's the same. So, like, even with everything. So, essentially, when we do a belief coding session, and I think this is kind of my form of meditation, because you're having to go within, you're having to be present, you're having to work within your own mind. But again, every time we have a new experience, it creates neuroplasticity, which then creates the new neural pathways and the channels of information. So it helps with addiction. It increases the grey matter. And again, with meditation, as well as belief coding, it helps to regulate your nervous system because of the messaging going to it.
Yes, because it's also been shown, because the amygdala is the part of the brain that kind of is our fear response linked to our kind of flight and fight. It kicks off what's called the HP axis. And so doing kind of meditation for a long time, and probably belief coding.
Definitely belief coding.
Definitely belief coding. Reduces that response to stress, so that actually it, essentially lowers like your cortisol levels and things at the end.
Yeah, and also as well.
And people found that actually, you can see that their amygdala is reduced in size.
Yeah. So again, with meditation, every time we've experienced something negative that has created stress, the cortisol stays in our body, but then it's triggered from experience. So when we do meditation, again, it's calming your nervous system, which releases the cortisol. But if you do a belief coding session, it goes back to the experience and changes it. So again, it releases the cortisol.
Or during the meditation releases the cortisol.
We kind of, sorry, I've said that wrong. So whenever you're working within your brain within that state, if you go back to a negative experience and heal it, sometimes you have to go directly back. However, if you're in a meditative state and you're ready to release the experience without visiting the experience, you can release it. So in the sense of, because
let go of it kind of thing.
Yeah, let go of it. Right. Because again, meditation increases the, oh my God, what's it called? The feel-good hormone.
Like dopamine?
No, not dopamine. Oh my God, oxytocin.
Right.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it?
Well, it is one of the,
Yeah, I'm looking now like, please validate me, Sophie.
Well, there's lots of hope, yeah.
Yeah, so it releases.
Oxytocin's like what we get when you like hug.
Yeah.
Like touch, even pets, you release oxytocin. It makes you feel nice and happy.
Yeah. I might get another puppy. I'm only joking, Walter's a bloody nightmare.
Yeah, you already got.
No, we'll go into that later though.
Yeah.
How to survive your pets over the summer holidays.
What you needed with 5 kids and a dog was another puppy. That was a good idea. Yeah, you need to meditate.
Yeah.
It's a good job you've got belief coding. Interestingly as well, it also showed that it leads to better preserved brains, which they were kind of noted were like age-defying brains. So essentially it can make your brain like
super
a younger brain. So it's hence like you're better able to manage emotions, got better cognition and memory and focus. So all in all, chronic pain, which I wasn't going to go into too much because I think another time we'll do a whole
I think
session
chronic pain would be great. Chronic pain would be great to cover actually on one of the episodes.
But what I would say about all of this is mentioning how I found it a bit stressful sometimes when I couldn't do it and B, didn't do it. When I have delved into all these studies which say all these amazing things, it's kind of comparable to anything that you find stress relieving. So for me, for example, I love going on a run and I find that really stress relieving. Or like dancing in the kitchen with music on or doing some art.
But you know why? What have those 3 things plus meditation got in common?
You kind of like...
You've been present.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
literally you're in that present state.
Yeah, so perhaps it is. And often yoga is thought of as moving meditation.
Yeah, because you're having to be present. You're having to literally connect inwards rather than being distracted outwards.
Yeah. So what I think kind of my takeaway from this is, I think if you struggle with focus a lot, maybe ADHD, things like that, probably mindfulness meditation is amazing for you. But if it's not something that you find that enjoyable, then don't stress about it. And find something that you do enjoy. And probably all those results that we've seen in meditation, you can get the same results from some other activity, maybe such as belief coding. But yeah, so I think there's not one that fits all, but essentially the ideas of meditation, like you say, can be found in other ways. I tell you what I do. I always go for a little walk at lunchtime.
Yeah, you said this. Yeah, you told me this.
And that is a kind of mindfulness meditation where I go and look at the sky and I try and look at trees and I try and think and be present, even if just for a few minutes. And I do find that helps my afternoon focus.
Yeah, that makes total sense though. And I tell you what, do you know what? So we have a mutual friend, Claire. She's lovely, but she was asking how could she get into meditation? I think a lot of our viewers, and even like yourself, you want to get into it, but you don't know how to. So one thing that I said to Claire, which might be super useful, if you want to get into meditation, probably the best way to start is with guided meditations, relatively short, because then it just brings you back to listening to the guided meditation, and then start to increase the time, and then start to just do a meditation once you're able to get your focus and clarity in one place. You don't have to do a guided one, but there's a great meditation which I love called Satanama, and it starts off Satanama, then you whisper Satanama, and then you say it in your head, but all while tapping each 4 fingers. And from a spiritual aspect, the spiritual meaning of it is renewal. It's renewal, rebirth, but basically starting the day with a fresh. I don't think that was a real sentence then, starting the day with a fresh perspective. I'm so tired today.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think for anyone who wants to get into it, the apps are good, like the Calm app, because it does guide you through. And we started with like a 2-minute one, a 3-minute one.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I've got if anyone wants to have it. I've got a future self meditation, and we've set the frequency of the music to 432 hertz, which is a healing frequency, but it's also guided to allow them to step into a future self. It's about 30 minutes long though, so it kind of defeats what I've just mentioned.
Well, that's it, because part of me thinks I just don't have time, because when I was looking on the app, loads of them are 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But I do know that people who are long-term meditators say
They can do it for hours.
they don't have time not to meditate.
Yeah.
Because if you look at like a lot of like top CEO people and stuff like that, a lot of them are doing this stuff.
Yeah.
Because it helps their productivity.
Yeah, and this is the thing, like, whenever I put my phone away and just have no distractions and I literally just need to do work, I'll do my work. Whereas I've had quite a lot on this week and I've literally had to do everything, but my phone got going off, so I'm entering WhatsApps, then I'm starting. But again, your brain doesn't focus that way, because when you're switching from activity to activity, you know, your information center, your neural pathways, or like the little channels of information, they have to go from one place to another. So you often end up feeling frazzled, overwhelmed. Whereas when you focus on one thing, your neural pathways are just going for the information that you need that's totally relevant. So you don't feel stressed, you don't feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think it goes back to that kind of monkey mind.
Yeah.
And the default mode network.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So overall, thumbs up for meditation.
Yeah. Oh, and actually we'll talk about the LED mask, because that kind of ties into
go on then.
meditation.
Yeah.
So I got this LED. Did you meditate with it on?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so because last time you'd mentioned it, you mentioned that and the Foreo Bear, and you said you're going to lend it me. So yes, you did lend it me. And I looked into the science behind it as well, actually.
Okay. So but basically, when Sophie mentioned that she was going to do more research on meditation and start it, every time I do a belief coding session, I'll before I go into the session, I'll put my LED mask on, and then I'll go into the belief coding session. But the beauty of that is it literally feels like it takes me to another level. I am ridiculously relaxed. I'm so open. I feel like that state that I'm working with is so much easier to work with. And I just go into this utter deep state of like relaxation, calmness, rejuvenation. When I come out, it's amazing. But I want to know the science behind it. If it's crap, don't tell me, because I love my LED mask. If it doesn't really work, I don't want to know.
No, I think it really does work.
Okay, thank God.
I think it really does work.
Hey, let me tell you this though, right? So when I started to use my LED mask and my Foreo Bear, like literally within the space of 2 weeks, when I tell people I had 5 kids, they're like, oh, you don't look old enough. Whereas before that, I was waiting for that. No one would say anything. So I was like, maybe it's working. Maybe I am looking younger.
Yes, I think it does work. And I think actually we're going to see more and more of this kind of LED red light and near infrared light use, because now you can get whole body ones.
Wow.
I think, well, you can get some that are just like tiny little ones that you just roll around, or you can get the masks. You can get neck ones, décolletage, or you can get whole body ones now.
Wow.
But yeah, the science behind it, therefore, is essentially it kicks off a chain reaction in a part of the cell called the mitochondria, which releases something called ATP and nitric oxide, which is like energy, cell renewal. So, and it ends up kind of increasing the collagen and blood flow, which is great for also like healing. So it can help with inflammation, can help with acne scars, and wrinkles. So it is actually good.
Should I get it?
It is a shame we're not sponsored by one of these LED masks. If there's any companies watching, I do not have one, so please can you send one?
And I want an upgrade. Do you know what? There's one that I looked at. So mine was quite expensive. It's like 500 quid. But there's one that I've looked at and it's 1,200. And I was like, oh. But apparently when I've read the reviews, like all the reviews were like, I feel like I've got porcelain skin. I'm like, I want the porcelain skin. Should I get the mask so they can see it?
Oh, yeah, do. And now I can see it's addictive though, because I want the one on my neck as well, because I don't want like an old lady neck. Jess has just gone to get the mask. Oh, yeah, she's going to put it on and come back really scary. I do think it's quite amusing for husbands around and partners around the world who think that maybe they're expecting some sort of intimacy at bedtime, and they walk in and see their wives, girlfriends, partners.
I'm going to do a belief code.
Right, for anyone who's not watching on YouTube, Jess is now
Get on
wearing...
YouTube and watch it.
It is a bit like a horror movie mask, isn't it? With your tongue out.
I was turning up to the horror scene. But
you told me to try it whilst I was meditating, which I did. So I did it at night time, just before I went to bed. Popped it on in the dark, actually.
How did you feel, Paul, when she walked in?
He wasn't there, actually. But put it on and listened to my meditation, and I did feel great. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it was in my mind, but I thought, this is brilliant. I am working on my mind and I'm working on my beauty.
Win-win.
Yeah, I want to be clever and vain, you know.
I'm clever and beautiful. Thanks, Carmen. High dose.
So that is a win. That's a win-win.
Right, I need to know about this now. So again, this is the Foreo Bear, and what this does, it basically, I actually don't know what it does, but my friend Janine, she's 44, she looks about 25, and she went, "If you've not got a Foreo," I was like, "What's a Foreo?" She's like, "A Foreo
Yeah, when
bear."
you said last time Foreo Bear, I was like, what
Yeah.
is a bear? What are you talking about?
It's amazing. Although, because I think this works, I've now gone on to buy this little face mask that they do, and it's like it's called a UFO, but it changes all the lights. So it has infrared lights, like green, blue, and then you put it on your skin. I've also gone on to buy the hair removal zapper. We could talk about that, and this skin massager.
So you are all in.
I'm all in, yeah. And I'm like, what else are they doing? I nearly bought the toothbrush. I was
Just
like,
like,
oh,
take my money, take my money.
but let's have
Oh, yeah. So, and you lent me this as well
Yeah.
because I'd never heard of it. So you've got to use it with,
sounds like a vibrator though for those. I promise you it's not.
so you've got to use it. Well, they sell their own kind of like serum to use with it, don't they?
So I don't use their serum.
No, you
I
don't
use my
have
oil.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, use the snail serum, right?
I use my snail slime. And if you don't know
Yeah.
about that, then
Listen to episode 1.
Yes, exactly. But you can use any kind of ultrasound because it has to have that between you and the.
What do
for
you
the
mean?
electricity
As in it
to
has
work.
to have
the lubricant type.
oh, just a lubricant, right? Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In order to work properly.
How
And,
come?
Just because essentially it is a very light electrical impulse being passed through, and it
Yeah.
needs that in order for the electricity to pass through.
Because it's a liquid. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, because of
Yeah.
the conduction of the electricity.
Okay, get you. Yeah, get you.
Physics stuff, blah blah.
Yeah.
Physics.
blah blah. I
Don't
love
ask too
it.
many questions.
Just know it
I know
works.
I'm supposed to be science, but I'm not everything science. But anyway, so yeah, I tried it and I loved it. And you can kind of feel it. It doesn't hurt,
Yeah.
but you
Oh,
can
it hurt
feel
me.
the kind of movement of it.
Yeah, like the first time I used it, my eye was like zzz, zzz, and I could feel like a nerve from my eye all the way to like the middle of my head, and I was like, I don't know if this feels safe, but it's making me feel like I'm looking younger, so I'm good to carry through with it.
Yeah, I saw one woman had done half her face for like however long, a week or something, and one of
Wow.
her eyebrow had lifted. She, like a cheek had lifted.
Wow. Yeah.
So I looked into the science of it again,
Yeah.
and essentially, I mean, it does claim
No!
a lot.
Okay, I'm happy with that. My beliefs are like good.
The key thing it does, and it does
Yeah.
do well, essentially is stimulates muscle growth.
Wow.
In the same way we go to the gym and you lift muscles and that's
Yeah.
good. So what happens is
You
you
can
age.
get a whole body one, you know.
Oh, goodness me. That as we age, our
Yeah.
muscles do essentially shrink.
Yeah.
So in your face, as the muscles shrink, that's when you kind of get the drooping, you get the
Yeah.
jowls, you get more of a, you get the eye bags because we have fat pads here as well and everything just drops. It's very depressing. So with using the Foreo Bear, it helps build back the muscle and kind of gives everything a lift. So the more you use it, the kind of, it's a bit like people who do kind of face yoga.
I was going to say
and
that then,
things.
yeah. So really, if you did face yoga, whilst using the Foreo Bear, your face is going to be like, blum, blum, blum.
Super muscly face. What I want is really muscly face. But it also says it kind of boosts collagen and elastin, and there's less evidence for that. But generally, even just
Yeah.
massaging your own skin is useful.
Yeah.
So a lot of the claims may just be because of that.
Can I ask you then? So do you know like the different levels of it? So you have some that are really subtle and some that are really strong. Essentially, is that because you're putting more intensity on the muscles, which is making them like grow, be firmer? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. I guess some people may not like it too strong and maybe uncomfortable.
Does it matter? Like for me, I don't mind being uncomfortable if it makes me look younger.
I did read that if you have too much electricity,
Yeah.
it isn't actually as beneficial.
Oh, okay, that
So,
makes me feel sad now.
I'm sure they've figured it out for a bit. I'm sure they've got the right
Yeah.
level of intensity.
I love it.
So yeah, another actually good one. So the good thing is I always start skeptical. I'm always
Yeah.
like, is it really though? But actually I was quite impressed with the evidence.
And if anyone's wondering how you spell it, I got mine from Amazon actually, and it's
We could leave a link.
Oh yeah, let's do a link.
We'll leave a link.
We'll leave a link.
All right, so we've covered a lot. We've covered tanning and we've covered meditation,
Yeah.
I believe coding,
Yeah.
and LED masks and Foreo Bear or other electrical impulse skincare.
So we'll see you on the next episode where we're going to be talking all things menopause. I'm really excited about the next episode actually.
Yeah, I am I talk about menopause a lot and enjoy it. So you'll have to shut me up. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Do subscribe if you haven't already. In fact, if you can rate us if you're watching this on a podcast platform, that helps everyone else see it as well. And we'll see you next time.
Bye. Make sure you share.
Bye.